Hello students, in this section we will learn about deflection and stress measurement on a cantilever beam. Last semester, you have already learned how to calculate beam stress and also beam deflection based on formula. Therefore, in this section, we will try to compare the theoretical result and measurement result of beam stress and beam deflection. This is the laboratory apparatus that we use for this measurement. In here, we use three kinds of sensor. The first one is dial indicator, second one is LVDT, and the third one is strain gauge, this red cable. Dial indicator and LVDT are used to measure beam deflection. Meanwhile, strain gauge is used to measure beam stress. Dial indicator represents direct measurement, which means you can directly read measurement result on the sensor. As you can see here, if I push the beam down, the dial indicator will rotate clockwise, which means the stylus of dial indicator is shortened. If I pull the beam up, the dial indicator will rotate counterclockwise, which means the stylus of dial indicator is extend. LVDT. LVDT represents analog measurement. We can read the measurement result from LVDT by using multimeter. LVDT will require power supply in order to function properly. Later, in engineering measurement class, you will learn in detail the working principle of LVDT. But in short, you can see the rod of LVDT over here. The rod will move up and down along with the object. The movement of this rod will produce an output voltage. We can measure or we can read the output voltage by using voltmeter. In this beam, dial indicator and also LVDT are installed in the same position relative to the support. Therefore, for your first task, you will have to calculate the beam deflection based on formula, then compare the theoretical result with the measurement result from dial indicator and also LVDT. We move to the beam stress measurement. In beam stress measurement, we will use strain gauge. But strain gauge on our laboratory apparatus is too small to see in this video. Therefore, I show you another strain gauge in this beam. As you can see here, strain gauge is the yellow one over here. Basically, strain gauge is just a resistor, but the resistance value of strain gauge will change if the strain gauge stretch. Then, the strain gauge require Wheatstone bridge and also amplifier in order to function properly or in order to measure the beam strain. So for your second task, you will calculate the beam stress based on formula, then compare the theoretical result with the measurement result from strain gauge. In deflection measurement, we will use two sensors, dial indicator and also LVDT. Both sensors are installed in the same position from the support. Before we start with the measurement, we can do zero setting on our dial indicator so that the measurement will start from zero. Meanwhile, in LVDT, we cannot do zero setting because we don't use any signal processing element on our LVDT measurement system. We try to put a mesh. As you can see here, you can directly read the beam deflection on dial indicator. It's about 2400 micron. But in LVDT, you will get your measurement data in volt unit. Therefore, you still need to convert voltage to millimeter in order to get the beam deflection. We continue to data processing of deflection measurement. First, we need to calculate the theoretical beam deflection based on formula. On your left, you can see the beam dimension and also the location of the sensors. Therefore, based on this formula, you can calculate the theoretical beam deflection. In the measurement, I took 7 data with different mass. By knowing the total mass, we can calculate the theoretical beam deflection. I have already calculated before, and I'll write the calculation result on this column. Meanwhile, on the fourth column, you can see the measurement result from dial indicator. As a result, we can calculate the error by comparing dial indicator measurement result with theoretical deflection, and we get the maximum error is about 4.6%. We move to LVDT measurement result. On LVDT, we didn't do zero setting before we start the measurement. That's why we need to take the zero condition data and all the measurement data have to be subtracted by zero condition data. I'll write in this column as a result of the subtraction. In here, I also multiply the data by 1000 in order to convert the data into millivolt unit. Next step, we have already know the sensitivity value of LVDT, which is 115 millivolt per millimeter. Therefore, we can easily divide millivolt data by sensitivity value to get the beam deflection. In here, I also multiply the data by 1000 in order to convert the beam deflection into micrometer unit. Finally, we can calculate the error by comparing LVDT measurement result with theoretical deflection, and we get the maximum error is about 3%. From this deflection measurement, we have the error is smaller than 5%. Thus, our measurement can be said as a good measurement. In beam stress measurement, I use a strain gauge as sensing element, national instrument as signal conditioning and processing element, and laptop as data presentation element. In this setup, we only use one strain gauge. Therefore, we need a quarter bridge completion. And that's why I use this national instrument 9235 series, because it is already equipped with a quarter bridge completion. If you don't want to use this equipment, then you have to make your own Wheatstone bridge and also amplifier. I use LabVIEW program to control national instrument and also to read the measurement data. In here, I show you the graph of measurement result and also the average of measurement data. Although I haven't put a mass yet, the strain gauge has already given an output voltage. This condition can happen because I didn't do zero setting before the measurement start. Besides, if you use a national instrument, you will get the measurement result in the unit of millivolt output divided by voltage input. In this experiment, we use 2 volt input. So, our initial condition is about 3.028 millivolt per volt input. To get the experiment data, I will put a mesh. After you put a mesh, we can start the LabVIEW program. It will take 10 measurement data and automatically calculate the average of the data. On our first data, it's about 2.97829 millivolt per voltage input. In the graph, you only see straight line. Why? Because you only measure static condition. Can you imagine? What if the external force applied to the beam is changing within the time? Then you will not see the straight line anymore because the system will respond to the external force applied to the system. Let us try it. Start the program and then you move the beam up and down. You see that it will not be a straight line anymore. You will see the response from the beam. We continue to the data processing of stress measurement. First, we need to calculate the theoretical beam stress based on formula. On your left, you can see the beam dimension and also the location of strain gauge. Therefore, based on this formula, you can calculate the theoretical beam stress. In the calculation process, please pay attention to the location of strain gauge because it will affect your bending moment and also stress. I have already calculated the theoretical beam stress before, and I write the calculation result on this column. Before we start with the data processing, I want to show you the strain gauge formula that you have already learned in the lecture. This is the formula. We can simplify the formula by assuming the resistance value of strain gauge and resistor are the same. And as a result, we get this equation. The gauge factor of our strain gauge is 2. Therefore, we can substitute to the equation and get this final equation to calculate strain. From LabVIEW program, we get the measurement data in the unit of millivolt output divided by volt input, as I write in this column. We didn't do zero setting before we start the measurement. That's why we need to get the zero condition data and all the measurement data have to be subtracted by zero condition data. I write in this column as a result of the subtraction. Next step, we can calculate the strain based on this formula. As you can see here, the previous result is divided by -2, multiplied by 4, and multiplied by 1000 in order to convert to microstrain unit. Next step, we can multiply the strain by modulus Young and get the stress value. Finally, we can calculate the error by comparing the strain gauge measurement result with theoretical stress, and we get the maximum error is about 4.6%. From this stress measurement, we have the error is smaller than 5%. Thus, our measurement can be said as a good measurement.